Hey BookTube, welcome back to the History Shelf. My name is Peg, and I am here today. Yes, I've done it again. I went used book shopping at a variety of different places online. Um, I think these were all online actually, thrift books and other third-party sellers. Uh, I've got, you know me. I sometimes I'll go down little historical rabbit holes that will lead me off into pathways that I couldn't have foreseen, and then I find really interesting eclectic titles that I just have to have. Maybe obscure historical titles. Um, yeah, and these are the fruits of my searches, the fruits of my labors, as it were, and I bring them to you in order to expand your horizons, maybe. Or maybe you have some input on some of these books that I've purchased. You've read them and you've got something to say about them. I want to know. So, yeah, we're gonna head into a stack of them here, and I've got so many that they won't fit into one video. So I might have to hold over a little mini stack for a follow-up to be filmed very soon. So it is a Thursday, and I took a day off work. I just came back from the chiropractor. It is so weird here, the weather in Colorado. It's always kind of bipolar. It is 40 some odd degrees, and we've got we have snow falling, and it was 80 degrees last weekend. So it's Colorado. All right, so what are we going to do here? Also, off in the other distance here in the next room, Martine is putting together my brand new office desk, which will be at some point here. This room is in a little bit of flux. I moved the lamp stand to this corner for now. It's not going to stay there. It used to be over here. So this desk is going to be much bigger. You're probably going to see parts of it now when we get it staged in here. It's a U-shaped desk, and then I can actually have things stacked on it. So because this desk is just not working anymore because it's like central receiving over here when it comes to books. And I have a lot of new editorial work and duties, and so there's just a lot going on here at the History Shelf, all of which I'm very excited about. I just wish I had more hours in the day. Let's start off with this find. I didn't even know this existed. I've been meaning to read a biography, a great biography, if I can, first time out the chute, on Benjamin Franklin, right? And I knew that everyone was just raving about H.W. Brands, and I followed H.W. Brands, and that's one of his biographies I have not read yet. So I was in the market for that, and I was looking around, and then all of a sudden, you know how they recommend things at the bottom of maybe if it's on Amazon, there's other people have bought these books similar to this. And I saw a book that said The Life of Benjamin Franklin, Volume 1. Now, maybe you're like me, but when you see something that says Volume 1, you love multi-volume works of history. And so when I said Volume 1, oh, I got to check this out. Well, I ended up finding a 3-volume biography on the life of Benjamin Franklin. Now, I have never heard of this historian biographer, so please, in the comments below, let me know. Look, I bought these used, so I didn't, between all three, I probably paid $25 maybe. $20 to $25. But you let me know if I made a good choice or not. Here it is, Volume 1. Still got some library mylar in Dewey Decimal System all over it. We got The Life of Benjamin Franklin, Volume 1, Journalist, 1706 to 1730, by J.A. Leo LeMay. Again, never heard of this person. This was put out by the University of Pennsylvania Press. Again, I got this from a used library edition. It is looking really good for a used edition. It's sturdy, this old library book here. Yep, it was just withdrawn from the stacks. Don't know why. So this biography, it looks like volume 1 came out in 2006. So it's not old. Now maybe it's just super detailed and it gets into every nook and cranny of his life, and I'm sure I've heard great things about H.W. Brands' one volume history, but why read a one volume biography of a major founder of the Republic when you can have a multi-volume? That's just me because I'm a nerd. Let's see here. I'll read a little bit of this to you, and then I'll show you the other 2 volumes that I picked up. One of them, which was in like new condition, and it really is basically new condition. This magisterial biography by the Dean of Franklin Scholars, okay, there you have it. He is the ultimate authority. Brings together the major sources in Franklin's life, representing a lifetime of research. Oh! Well, I thought here I go again, not knowing how many volumes something has. Well, I've only seen 3. So apparently this is going to be an ongoing, this is going to have 7 volumes, my peeps. 7. This, representing a lifetime of research, the 7-volume work will give enthusiasts, scholars, and teachers an important resource for understanding Franklin's character and place in American history. The first volume covers Franklin's life to his marriage in 1730. It traces young Franklin's New England religious, political, and cultural contexts, exploring previously unknown influences on his philosophy and writing, and attributing new writings to him. After his move to Philadelphia, made famous in his autobiography, Franklin became the Water American in London in 1725, where he was welcomed into that city's circle of free thinkers. I don't know what a Water American is. Upon his return to the colonies, the sociable Franklin created a group of young friends, the Junto, devoted to self-improvement and philanthropy. He also started his own press and began to edit and publish the Pennsylvania Gazette, which became the most popular American paper of its day and the first to consistently feature American news. This is going to be a 7-volume work. Okay. Probably just should have looked at the, when did Franklin pass away? It's in the when did he? Anyway, 7 volumes, and I've got started with the first 3. So this one's all about the journalists, 1706 to 1730. And the book is roughly 547 pages. That includes endnotes and everything else. So it's pretty awesome. Okay, so then we go on to volume 2. This one also had a Mylar cover. I kind of pulled off most of the stickers. I still need to try to pull off some more on this volume 1. But now then we go from 1730 to 1747. It's volume 2, printer and publisher. And this one's pretty substantial. It's fairly decent condition. A couple of the edges on the paper got a little bit smooshed on the end, but they're okay. And then this one takes Franklin from his marriage to his retirement as a printer at the beginning of 1748, examining the mysteries of the illegitimate William Franklin's birth and mother and Franklin's increasing civic activities. J.A. Leo LeMay assesses Franklin's numerous writings, attributing to him for the first time a deistic Indian speech, remarking on his use of the second African-American persona in journalism, and analyzing his publishing sensation of 1747, The Speech of Miss Polly Baker. These belletristic works are complemented by Franklin's religious, political, and scientific writings, which he produced prodigiously. Oh, this is going to be a wonderful source then for his writings on a variety of things, because these are all included at length. Poor Richard's Proverbs. Let's see here. Look at originals and then Franklin's revisions. This is in-depth life of. Let's see if I can amass all 7 once they all come out. So Life of Benjamin Franklin, Volume 2. Volume 3 is the one that is, this could be a brand new book. Looks like a brand new book. Volume 3, wow. Just gorgeous. For some reason, I just thought, oh, Volume 3 makes sense. Let's just end on Volume 3, because I didn't see any more. But I realized maybe there's kind of maybe releasing them at different times. Now, Volume 3 came out in 2009. So let me look. There should be other volumes out there. So Volume 3 covers soldier, scientist, and politician, 1748 to 1757. I'll head over to University of Pennsylvania Press and see where the rest of them are. Oh, now I remember how I stumbled upon these too, is when I realized that there was a multi-volume workout, and I found that the publisher was UPenn, or Penn Press. I had also had an email from them indicating that they had a sale going on. And so I went over and I was checking it out, and I saw these books, and even marked down for like 40%. They were still pretty steep. So I was looking for third-party sales. But I don't think I saw Volume 4, 5, 6, or 7. So I'm going to have to do some more research on that. But in the meantime, I've got a pretty industrious set here, you guys, of The Life of Benjamin Franklin by J.A. Leo LeMay. Here you go. All right. So that was a successful used book hunt, I will have to say. Well, when I went to go reach for my drink, my hand hit my mouse and ended the recording. So sorry for the hard break there. Okay, moving on. I got this book because I was reading I had a buddy read with Patrice, and we were doing the Great War and the Birth of Modern Medicine, and she mentioned we were reading about a certain battle, Passchendaele, and she's like, there was a book that I wanted to get that I heard about on another channel, and then she sent me a picture of it, and I'm like, oh, right. And I recognized the writer, and who had just written a fantastic book a couple of years ago on the Western Front in World War I, and that's Nick Lloyd. And he had also written this book, which I think is probably, I think this fits in with what I'm looking for. Other books on Passchendaele I found weren't as comprehensive, so I think this might be my go-to book. But I picked up Passchendaele, The Lost Victory of World War I by Nick Lloyd. Probably, I think I just ordered it off of either Thrift Books or third party on Amazon. It's in fairly good condition, a little yellowed. But, and Nick Lloyd, they just released in the UK his companion history of World War I, this one on the Eastern Front. So it is not available in America yet. But I will be keeping my eyes and tentacles out for that one. So yeah, but he just launched it in England, or the UK, and to much fanfare, the Eastern Front. So he is still cranking out good stuff on World War I. Let's see, Passchendaele, the name of a small, seemingly insignificant Flemish village, echoes across the 20th century as the ultimate expression of meaningless industrialized slaughter. In the summer and fall of 1917, upward of 500,000 men were killed, wounded, maimed, gassed, or drowned in this small corner of Belgium. And let's see, the book came out in 2017, so it says, now, on the centennial of the battle, acclaimed military historian Nick Lloyd offers the definitive account of a months-long encounter on the Western Front that remains a source of enduring controversy. Lloyd is the first historian to reveal that, for the British, Passchendaele was eminently winnable. He shows just how difficult and exhausting the confrontation was for the German army, how close the British army came to defeating it, and how continued fighting in Flanders might have meant an early end to the war. Yet Field Marshal Sir Douglas Haig let slip the opportunity to hammer the German army, condemning his men to weeks of wasted effort and a vain attempt to achieve a breakthrough. The result was a tragedy of the type only trench warfare produced. Hundreds of thousands of casualties spent on 5 miles of earth. This is a radical new retelling of this seminal modern battle. and Passchendaele as an essential addition to the literature on the First World War. So I had to have this one because World War I is also another one of my niche interests. I have a lot of them, obviously, but World War I really have a soft spot for. Okay. What else? Boom. Let's move on to this one. I picked this one up when I discovered this book on from my reading of a book I just reviewed for Shelf Awareness, and I posted it on my social media accounts. It's called Takeover by Timothy W. Ryback. And his bibliography for this book was amazing, and I was looking through his bibliography and noticed a few of his sources. And the books and the source sounded fascinating, so I looked up Fritz Stern, because Timothy Ryback had made use of this book, which I've shown previously, and another used book called The Politics of Cultural Despair, a study in the rise of the Germanic ideology. And so I was like, let me check out some more Fritz Stern's work. And then I came across this very, it's like a memoir. Well, it is a memoir of sorts, autobiography, I guess. But it's pretty substantial, well over 500 pages. And I bought this, where did I get this? On Thrift Books. It's a very decent hardcover edition. A couple of stains on the bottom, but nothing too major. This is 5 Germanys I Have Known by Fritz Stern. This was put out by Farrar, Straus and Giroux. So a little bit of, some gunk on here, but nothing too bad. This came out, and I didn't realize, too, that I had also picked up another book by Fritz Stern from the Princeton University Press collection. I have his other book called Einstein's German World. I have that in paperback from Princeton. So I've got a nice little collection now of 3 of his books. Some of his other ones sound very interesting as well. Gold and Iron, Bismarck, Bleichroder, and the Building of the German Empire. Dreams and Delusions, the Drama of German History. But for 5 Germanys I Have Known, which came out in 2006, another good year for books, it says here, the German question haunts the modern world. How could so civilized a nation be responsible for the greatest horror in Western history? In this unusual fusion of personal memoir and history, the celebrated scholar Fritz Stern refracts the question through the prism of his own life. Born in the Weimar Republic, exposed to 5 years of National Socialism, and finally finding a haven in the United States in 1938, he became a world-renowned historian of modern Europe whose work opened new perspectives on the German and German-Jewish past. His critical commentary soon became part of the public debate in Germany itself. Weaving together interpretive narrative, acute analysis, and dramatic personal anecdotes, Stern brings to life the Germanys he has experienced. Weimar, the Third Reich, post-war West and East Germany, and the unified country after 1990. His friendships with leading German intellectuals and politicians give him special insights into their struggle to create a liberal democracy. He shows that the tumultuous history of Germany, alternately Europe's strength and Europe's scourge, offers political lessons for citizens everywhere, especially those facing or escaping from tyranny. 5 Germanys I Have Known vindicates his belief that at its best, history is our most dramatic introduction to a moral civic life. Oh, I couldn't agree more. Fritz, Herr Stern, a lot of personal photos too inside, but it's a big book. So I think I'm just going to be taken right in, because I do love books that mix in, I was there, these are the people I knew, rub shoulders with, my anecdotes, my stories, and I love it. So 5 Germanys I Have Known by Fritz Stern. I will keep these together along with my other book on Einstein. Let's see here. All right. And then I picked up this book also from Thrift Books. Looks like someone put Mylar on it. It looks like it might have been a library book. Yeah, it's a discard from a library. Kind of yellowed, little yellowing on the edges, but otherwise really good. This is The Lowells of Massachusetts, An American Family by Nina Sankovich. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll take the Mylar off. I don't know. The Lowells of Massachusetts were a remarkable family. They were settlers in the New World in the 1600s, revolutionaries creating a new nation in the 1700s, merchants and manufacturers building prosperity in the 1800s, and scientists and artists flourishing in the 1900s. Though not without scoundrels and certainly no strangers to controversy, the family boasted some of the most astonishing individuals in America's history. Percival Lowell, the patriarch who arrived in America in the 17th century to plant the roots of the family tree. The Reverend John Lowell, the big-hearted preacher. Judge John Lowell, a member of the Continental Congress. Francis Cabot Lowell, a manufacturer and some say the founder of the Industrial Revolution in the United States. James Russell Lowell, an American romantic poet. Yep. Lawrence Lowell, one of Harvard's longest-serving and most controversial presidents. And Amy Lowell, the Pulitzer Prize-winning 20th century poet who lived openly in a Boston marriage, with the actress Ada Dwyer Russell. The Lowells realized the promise of America as the land of opportunity by uniting the Puritan values of hard work, community service, and individual responsibility with a deep-seated optimism that became a well-known family trait. Long before the Kennedys set foot on Massachusetts soil, the Lowells claimed the bedrock, baby. All right. There they are. So, yeah, I'm kind of interested in this because I've been reading a little bit more about the, the American intelligentsia of the mid-19th century. A bunch of different books I read and reviewed, both historical fiction and otherwise, have kind of been covering that era and the poets and the writers and the transcendentalists and, Margaret Fuller and Emerson, and I don't know why I'm doing that. But anyway, I kind of wanted to read a little bit more about the clan, the Lowell clan. So I picked that one up for a song. All right. Okay, I picked up a few works of literature as well, and I'll save those for the end. I've been meaning to get this. I wanted to get it in hardcover, but it's just so hard to find a good used hardcover that is both in great shape and not too expensive. This is my London Fog tea, by the way. So delicious on a cold, somewhat rainy, snowy afternoon here outside Denver, Colorado. So I picked up the new trade paperback of it. I think I paid probably maybe $15 for it. I paid more than usual because it's hard to get your hands on it. But it's a nice sturdy copy of Gaulle by Julian Jackson. I have several other of Julian Jackson's work on France, the fall of France, and but this was the winner of the Duff Cooper Prize. And now it's got the Max Hastings blurb on the trade paperback edition. This was put out by the Belknap Press, so Harvard University Press, the Belknap imprint. But I have been meaning to get this for several years, ever since it came out. And it came out in 2018. So I waited about 5-6 years to get this book. And it still hasn't gone down in price. But anyway, this is a monster. This is a March of the Mammoths biography. This is 880 pages or some odd. But look at that. All right. In this definitive biography, Well, this won a lot of prizes, not just the Duff Cooper Prize. It was also the winner of the Elizabeth Longford Prize, and it was also a Financial Times, Spectator, Times, and Telegraph Book of the Year. In this definitive biography of the mythic general who refused to accept the Nazi domination of France, Julian Jackson captures Charles de Gaulle as never before. Drawing on unpublished letters, memoirs, and papers from the recently opened de Gaulle archive, he shows how this volatile visionary of staunch faith and conservative beliefs infuriated Churchill, challenged American hegemony, recognized the limitations of colonial ambitions in Algeria and Vietnam, and put a broken France back at the center of world affairs. So now I feel like I have filled a definite gap in my library because, he was the man at one point for France. So Julian Jackson, and he's just a fantastic historian, and his other books are great, so I was just like, this has got to be like, I don't know how he put this thing together. That would be it for me, So De Gaulle by Julian Jackson. All right. Okay. I picked up a book on China. I had to get this used. I've got a lot of books on current events or current analysis of China right now, and I need to start tapping into those. I got to work my way through some of them. I've got at least 4 or 5 really top shelf stories on China's role in the world right now. It's vis-a-vis other nations, but especially under Xi Jinping. So I wanted to get this. This is I don't know if I've shown this on the channel yet, but either way, I picked up Party of One: The Rise of Xi Jinping and China's Superpower Future by Chen Han Wang. It's put out by Avid Reader Press. This is a very recent book. Last year, 2023. Let's see. Party of One shatters the many myths and caricatures that shroud one of the world's most secretive political organizations and its leader. Many observers misread Xi during his early years in power, projecting their own hopes that he would steer China toward more political openness, rule of law, and pro-market economics. Having masked his beliefs while climbing the party hierarchy, Xi has centralized decision-making powers, encouraged a cult of personality around himself, and moved toward indefinite rule by scrapping presidential term limits, stirring fears of a return to a Mao-style dictatorship. Today, the party of Xi favors political zeal over technical expertise, trumpets its faith in Marxism, and proclaims its reach into every corner of Chinese society with Xi portraits and hammer and sickle logos. Fabulous. Under Xi, China has challenged Western preeminence in global affairs and cast its authoritarian system as a model of governance worthy of international emulation. As a China reporter for the Wall Street Journal, Chen Han Wang has chronicled Xi Jinping's hardline strategy for crushing dissent against his strongman rule, his political repression in Hong Kong and Xinjiang, and his increasingly coercive efforts to reel in the island democracy of Taiwan, as well as the domestic and diplomatic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. When the Chinese government refused to renew Wang's press credentials and forced him to leave mainland China in 2019, he moved to Hong Kong to continue covering Chinese politics and its autocratic turn under Xi. Now, Wang has drawn on his years of first-hand reporting across China, including conversations with party insiders, insights from scholars and diplomats, and analyses of official speeches and documents to create a lucid and historically rooted account of China's leader and how he inspires fear and fervor in his party, his nation, and beyond. And here is our author, Chen Han Wang. So yeah, it should be a really gripping read. Anyway, I got to make some headway into my stack of China books. I got a lot of them. I just find that country fascinating. It's such a very long storied history, and then its horrible turn to communism, Marxism in the 20th century. Just a damn shame. Okay, sorry again for that cut. We've had some technical difficulties here at the History Shelf. So, okay, so we're moving on to 3 novels that I've been meaning to read and I've been wanting to read. And this book I first saw listed on a Naval Institute Press Clear the Deck sale that I think is still going on. And I was about to get it from there. And then I realized that it was available cheaper elsewhere as a third-party seller book. And so I went and looked for it online, and I got it, and guess I'm glad I did. Why? Because my edition has an autograph from the author. And this is called Last of the Enemies, a novel by Tom Glenn. And look at my signed autographed edition. Yay! Last of the Enemies, a novel by Tom Glenn. Let's see here. The rare novel that eloquently describes the burden of loss, Last of the Enemies, brings to life the haunting story of those who found themselves trapped in Saigon in April 1975 as the city and surrounding country fell to North Vietnamese forces. Drawing on his own experiences in the war, Tom Glenn tells the tale of Chuck Griffin, a retired Marine colonel, doing intelligence work for the U.S. in Vietnam, his friend Thon, an incorruptible South Vietnamese Marine colonel, and Chuet, the regal woman whom both men love. Chuck, mourning the loss of his own son in the war, finds himself becoming entangled with his old South Vietnamese ally's wife. The affair will have ramifications not only for the clandestine lovers, but for Chuet's family as well. Set against the backdrop of the fall of Saigon, Tom Glenn's vivid narrative captures the high drama surrounding the end of a war, the end of a city, and the end of a people. Reaching its harrowing conclusion during the real Operation Frequent Wind, a refugee rescue effort approved by President Gerald Ford, Last of the Enemies offers a portrayal of a handful of people caught in an epic conflagration that was one of modern history's darkest chapters. So it just sounded like a historical fiction novel, also like literary, that would be something I'd really like to read. And it reminded me, too, of another book that I keep meaning to read. There's books I want to read that all of a sudden turn into Netflix and Prime Video series that I'm angry about because I'm like, I haven't had a chance to read the book yet, and I don't like watching these programs until I've read the book. Such as The Three-Body Problem. I'm not a big science fiction fan, but from other podcasts I listen to, there's a lot more than just science fiction there. I guess there's a lot of themes that really would appeal to me. So I picked up the book. I haven't had a chance to start reading it yet. There's just not enough hours in the day, right? Too many books, too little time. And then boom, all of a sudden it's on Netflix. A book, I think it's also set around the time of, it's set within, I think, Vietnam, or it's called The Sympathizer. It was highly regarded and ballyhooed and well reviewed. And I keep meaning to pick up the book and read The Sympathizer, and the next thing I know, boom, it's on Prime or it's on Netflix. It's already there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, right? I just want to read the books first. But anyway, this seemed like a book that was right up my alley, so I picked this one up. And then I saw this book, and I was just like, the topic, it just sounds so interesting, and I like big, immersive novels. I love big books, and I cannot lie, right? I love big, immersive novels, literary ones especially, and I didn't know that this was out there. Oh, and I picked this up used, and it has, how quaint. This is like something from a time capsule, but look at this. I've got an actual, I have an actual library card holder in here. Isn't that sweet? This is Orhan Pamuk's Nights of Plague, a novel. Beautiful Mylar covered edition. Just picked it up used. I just was like, I want it in hardcover. I have to have it in hardcover. Now, I'm probably going to open up the Mylar to take out this green, library identifier. But yeah, look at the spine on that too. It's just beautiful. What is that? It's like a dagger or something. So, Nights of Plague, and the cover is just outstanding. It is April 1901 on the imaginary island of Mingiria, the 29th state of the Ottoman Empire, located in the eastern Mediterranean between Crete and Cyprus. Half the population is Muslim, the other half is Greek Orthodox, and tension is high between the two. When a plague arrives, brought either by Muslim pilgrims returning from Mecca or by merchant vessels coming from Alexandria, the island revolts. To stop the epidemic, the Ottoman Sultan Abdul Hamid II sends his most accomplished quarantine expert, an Orthodox Christian, to the island. Some of the Muslims, including followers of a popular religious sect, refuse to take precautions or respect the quarantine. And then a murder occurs. As the plague continues its rapid spread, the Sultan next sends his niece, Princess Pakiz, and her husband, an acclaimed doctor and a Muslim, to manage the crisis. But the incompetence of the island's governor and local administration, and the people's refusal to respect restrictions, doom the quarantine to failure, and the death count continues to rise. Because of the danger that the plague might spread to the west, the people of Mingaria are cut off and left to defeat the plague themselves. Almost sounds like a Stephen King scenario, right? Like Under the Dome or something, with plague inserted. Steeped in history and rife with suspense, Nights of Plague is an epic story of love, politics, and a nightmarish plague that threatens to bring an end to an empire. So that just sounded like a good read. That just sounds like a great story right there. And it's, about 680 pages. So it's some juicy historical literary fiction from Orhan Pamuk. Nights of Plague. Curious if any of you have read it. Then I have never read this lady's writing, this author's writing. I know she's very famous. Everyone knows her name. I have personally not read her, but this, if I'm going to try reading her, this novel sounds like me. If you've been watching this channel for years and you know my penchant for Russian history, Russian revolutionary history, studying of Marxism, communism, and all that kind of, jazz, this was going to be my introduction to the great Iris Murdoch. Now, I wanted it in hardcover, so the only hardcover edition is like a very old printing. So the jacket cover is like sun faded and everything, but this is but I got a first American edition, 1988. And this is The Book and the Brotherhood by Iris Murdoch. So this one's a little bit chewed up, and you know what I ended up doing, you guys? I've got so many books in line that I want to pick up that I accidentally ordered 2 copies of this. And then I tried to take the sticker off and it ripped it. And I'm like, what the? But anyway, I have it. The Book and the Brotherhood. So let me tell you a little bit about The Book and the Brotherhood. What am I going on here? Okay. I'm getting dust motes on me. Okay. Iris Murdoch's 23rd novel begins at a midsummer ball at Oxford, where a group of men and women, friends since university days, have gathered. Under the stars they dance, the charismatic Gerard Hernshaw, Rose Kirtland, who has loved Gerard in silence for years, Duncan Cambus and his restless wife Jean, Jenkin Riderhood, the saintly schoolmaster who is the group's moral center, Tamar Hernshaw, Gerard's tormented niece, and not least of all, David Crimond, the monomaniacal Marxist genius. Years ago, the friends bonded together to finance a political and philosophical book to be written by Crimond as a memorial to Sinclair Kirtland, Rose's brother. On this summer's evening, Crimond's actions at the ball touch off a crisis, and by the night's end, the vindictive ghosts of the past have effectively invaded the present. The Book and the Brotherhood then proceeds at a pace by turns reflective and violent. Passion, hatred, a duel, murder, and a suicide pact disturb the old world of academic reflections and skating parties at country weekends. Partners change. Crimond's book is completed, and somebody has to die. Of Iris Murdoch's last novel, Harold Bloom said on the front page of the New York Times Book Review, "If The Good Apprentice marks the start of her strongest phase, and it may, that a great novel could yet come, rather surprisingly, in the form of the 19th century realistic novel. This is the form of The Book and the Brotherhood. In its pages, Iris Murdoch's genius for portraying the texture of experience makes love, politics, friendship, and their characters caught up in them palpable and immediate. The Book and the Brotherhood is a work of astonishing power. So, I wanted to pick it up, and I did. All right, so, there you have it, but not all of it, because during some of the technical difficulties I had is that I had to take out it's painful. I had paused the recording to read a book jacket description that wasn't on the book, so I had to look it up online. And I went on for 4 books, realizing that I hadn't unpaused the recording. It was, when I realized that, it was so painful. I was like, but the 4 books I showed are all by the same author, so I think I might do another video rather than really just try to, I've got to start reading. I've got so much reading to do. I have a book review on Saturday, so I got to get going and get this going. But as it is, I'm having to, paste together 3 separate clips because of all these technical difficulties, and I accidentally hit the mouse button. I'm a little klutzy today. Well, let me know what you think so far of what books I've shown here. Those 4 mystery books by that one mysterious historian, I will make in a separate video because it could be a good 10-minute, 15-minute video just for the 4 books I have to show. So, on that note, guys, let me know what you thought of this, all these fun used books I'm picking up, and, are all different and kind of eclectic, and let me know if anything jumped out at you and you're going to hop on as well, because I'd love to hear about it. All right, until next time, BookTube, which will be soon, and maybe I'll have a new desk by then. We'll talk soon. Take care. Bye.